Hi guys, it's Skipper Megan. If you are returning, welcome back, and if you are new, welcome aboard. I am working on my series of what to do when you're planning a Walt Disney World vacation. So this week is talking about getting to and around Disney World, so Disney transportation. If you missed last week I talked about planning when you're going to go and how long you're going to stay, ticket prices, and all that good stuff. So if you haven't checked that out, click on that little eye up there, check that out, and get caught up. So like I said, today we are talking about transportation. The first thing that I'm going to talk about is getting to Disney World. So when you're going to Disney, you have basically two options. You can either fly there, you can drive there. That's basically it. So you are just going to be picking which one of those is going to be more feasible for you. Obviously, if you live on the other side of the world or the other side of the country from Walt Disney World, flying is probably going to be easier. And if you are flying, there's a couple of things that you can do. There's a website, kayak.com. I have heard a lot of people who say really great things about that as far as planning trips, booking flights. It compares every major airline except Southwest, I believe. It compares all of their prices for the days that you're going to be flying, and it tells you what the best price is going to be. It also has a flight predictor so that it can look at historically, when should you buy this ticket? Is it going to be better for you to buy it now? Is this the cheapest it's going to be? Or if you wait a little farther down the line, is it going to get a little bit cheaper? Something else to consider when you are deciding which method you want to use to get to Disney World is what kind of family are you traveling with? Are you traveling with a lot of kids? Is it just a couple? If it's going to be just a group of adults, flying is probably an okay option for you because you don't have to wrangle in the children and keep everyone occupied and contained on the plane. But if you do have kids that are traveling with you, maybe a car is a better option. You can take more frequent stops. You can take rests. They're going to be more comfortable, and you're going to be able to keep them entertained a little bit easier when it's just you in your own personal car rather than trying to get everyone organized and get everyone onto a flight. So that's basically the only tip I have for flying. I usually drive, so I can offer a lot more insight into that. So if you have any questions about driving to Disney World, I can help you out with that one. One benefit of driving over flying is obviously you don't have to pay for the things that you bring. You don't have to pay for luggage, you don't have to pay for any of your checked bags or anything like that, just whatever you can fit in your car you can bring. So that also doesn't limit you on what you can bring. You know, you can bring a giant thing of dish detergent or laundry detergent if you want, but you can't do that on a plane. Flying can also be a little bit more expensive than driving, especially if you have a lot of people. Driving, if you are within a day's drive, is not going to be as expensive as flying everyone. So that's something else to keep in mind. If the price is something that's going to be a big factor for you, then maybe driving, if it's an option for you, would be the better choice. So now you are arriving at Disney World. You have decided that you are going to fly or you're going to drive. Once you get there, what are your transportation options? So if you fly and you're staying on property at Disney, which I'm going to do an entire video in the next couple of weeks about staying on Disney property versus off property and what your hotel options and that kind of thing, so make sure you check back for that. So if you do fly in and you're staying on property, you can take what Disney calls the Magical Express, and that is just a bus that you catch from the Orlando airport, and it will take you to any of your Disney resorts. The nice thing about the Magical Express is you don't have to deal with your luggage. When you leave your hometown, you go to that airport, you check your bags, you do not see them again until they show up in your room at Disney property. So you don't ever have to wait for the baggage carousel, you don't have to do anything, you just get off the plane, you go to the Magical Express, and you go to your resort. It makes it really simple, really easy, and you don't have to worry about as much. So once you get to your resort and you're ready to go to the parks, if you flew, then you are going to be able to take Disney transportation from the Disney resorts to each Disney park. If you drove, then obviously you can take your car if you like. If you're staying on Disney property, you do not have to pay for parking at any of the Disney parks. If you are not staying on Disney property, then you will have to pay for parking, and right now I believe it's about $20 for a standard car. If you're bringing an RV or anything like that, it's going to be a little bit more expensive. If you flew to Orlando and you are not staying on Disney property, that is going to constrain you the most as far as your transportation options. Because if you're staying on Disney property, they do have buses that run from each resort to the parks and to multiple places around town that you would want to go to, Disney Springs and all of that. So if you are not staying on property and your hotel does not offer a Disney shuttle service, which some of them do, so just make sure to check for that when you are booking. If they don't, then you're going to have to get an Uber, you're going to have to get a taxi, you're going to have to rent a car, something like that in order to get you to the parks. Now, if you drove to Orlando and you're staying off property, Obviously, you can just drive your car to the parks, like I said earlier, but you will have to pay for parking at each park. And once again, that parking price is around $20 per car. So those are the main options. You can either fly or drive, obviously, and I personally like to drive. I have actually never flown to Disney. I have a lot of friends who have, and if they are just going to be staying on Disney property, or if they are just going to be going to and from the parks, they do enjoy flying because it's so much faster than driving. So like I said earlier, my personal preference is to just drive. We don't live that far away from Florida, so we can get there within a day if we drive. So that's what we usually do. We can take everything that we need to take. We can take some groceries if we want, so that we don't have to buy everything once we get down there. Once again, that would be a little bit more difficult if you're flying. You can't take necessarily a whole bunch of groceries onto the plane with you. And when we get to Orlando, we know our way around, so we are happy to just drive whether we're staying on property or not. So that is something that we like to do. It's a little bit faster if you do drive yourself. If you are taking the buses, you are at their mercy. If they are full and you can't get onto one, you're gonna have to wait. They usually come around every 10 to 15 minutes, I believe. So it's not going to be that long of a wait, but if they are full, you're going to have to wait. And sometimes at the end of the day, especially if you're staying at a park until it closes, everyone is going to be leaving at the same time. Those buses are going to be very crowded. You may end up standing. I always recommend that if you have a car down there with you, that it's going to be better for you in the long run. It's going to be faster. You're going to be able to travel between parks much easier. You're going to be able to travel to and from the park and your resort much easier, especially if you're staying off property. So that's it for the travel portion of our Walt Disney World vacation planning series. So if you have any other questions, if I didn't answer something about travel, just leave me a comment down below, let me know. I'll be sure to get back with you, and make sure to check back next week where we will continue the series. Bye y'all.